Hi everyone, welcome to the Simple Savvy Vegan. Today I wanted to share with you some basic substitutes that you can use for vegan cooking or baking. I know when I started out, obviously that felt to me like the hardest thing was, okay, what do I use for eggs? What do I use for cheese? What do I use for milk? So there's a few really simple things that you can get that will work in a lot of recipes. And I'm really excited to share these with you and help you get started. So the first dairy alternative I want to talk about is milk. This is unsweetened almond milk. There are a lot of different milk alternatives out there. There's also coconut milk, cashew milk, hemp milk. I usually use almond milk. It's the best neutral out of all the alternatives that I know about. So you can use this in anything. Tastes great. Sometimes I'll mix coconut milk and almond milk together. I think they blend really well to taste more like milk since one's a little saltier and one's a little sweeter. But if you don't want to do all that, the almond milk I think is the best vegan dairy milk that you can use. Speaking of milk, I have some coconut milk right here in a can. I use the canned coconut milk. I don't use the light one. The light, you want the full fat, so the classic, the original, that one has the full fat in it. This I use for anything that calls for cream. Also, if you have something that calls for sour cream, you can use this and then put some apple cider vinegar, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you have a sour cream there. So you can use this for cream or sour cream in cooking and baking. The best way usually to use it is to put it in the fridge overnight, let the fat separate, it'll come up to the top and the liquid will be at the bottom, and use the fat. But sometimes when you're cooking, you can also use the whole can depending on what you're using it for. Alright, butter. So here I have Earth Balance. This is a vegan butter. I think this is the best one I've ever had. Obviously, anytime something calls for butter, you can use this. This is the spread, so this is probably better for when you're, doing butter and bread or serving it for something. But if you want to use it for baking, they also have sticks. So Earth Balance sticks, just like, sticks of butter. You can use that, and it's really accessible. All these ingredients I've gone over so far, I've gotten at Safeway. So Safeway or Publix, you can get these ingredients at. So also coconut oil. This is also, you can also use this for butter. Obviously I have a big thing of coconut oil here. I use a lot of it. This is great. Anytime it calls for cold butter, make sure that the coconut oil is cold, because in warm temperatures it melts really easily. But it's great for, when you're making a pie crust and it calls for really cold butter. And a lot of times, even before I knew about Earth Balance, I used coconut oil in anything that called for butter, and it worked great. So you can also just use this. It's probably even a hint cheaper. Not that Earth Balance is all that expensive in my opinion, but this also is probably even cheaper. Just keep in mind that coconut oil has a little bit, it can sometimes be a hint sweeter in taste. So keep that in mind when you're cooking or baking as well. Alright, so eggs. Let me take this off here. So anytime you have eggs in your, usually that's for baking for this, but cooking or baking, usually when something calls for eggs, when you're baking something, you would use flax meal and water. So what you usually do proportionally is 1 tablespoon of flax meal and 3 tablespoons of water, and you let it sit for about 5 minutes, and it'll kind of form together, and that works as a really good binder and that's your egg. So for every egg, you would do 1 tablespoon of flax meal, 3 tablespoons of water, and let it sit for 5 minutes. If you want to do 3 eggs, you would just do 3 tablespoons of flax meal and 9 tablespoons of water. So that's what I would recommend for anytime you're baking something that calls for eggs. Alright, so cheese alternatives. I have some cashew pieces here. I also have almonds. And I wanted to go over this for any time you're, especially in cooking for this one, something calls for something cheesy. This is the big item that you would use for cheesy, anything cheesy in the vegan world. So especially the cashews. I've used this to make a vegan cheese. You can make this to make soft or hard vegan cheeses. I've used it to make different sauces. Fettuccine, for instance, this is great for fettuccine. I had a video recently on how to make eggnog, and I used this, so that was great. That's great as well. So anything when you want to try to get a cheesy consistency, cashews works great for that. Then I have the almonds. Almonds aren't used quite as much, I would say, for cheese, but I like to use them sometimes when I'm making cream cheese. I can make a soft cream cheese I could throw in a blender, and I like to use almonds for that. So those are 2 options that you have for anything when you're trying to make something that's cheesy. Alright, so mayonnaise, which you use probably mostly in your sandwiches, but it's also in cooking, sometimes in baking, but a lot of times in cooking. This is Just Mayo. You've probably seen this brand before. And I know it's really popular amongst people who aren't vegan or vegetarian or they eat meat or whatever. They still love this. It has no eggs, no dairy, and it's delicious. So this is great, for your sandwiches or anything that would call for mayonnaise. Get this brand. It's affordable. You can get it at Target. You can also get it at Safeway. Target's a little less expensive there. So that's gonna just remember the Just Mayo brand, which definitely stands out for any time you need mayonnaise. Alright, lastly, I want to actually go over some cheese that you can buy for when you want to make your sandwiches, or anytime you want some cheese, since that is a hard thing to get over. I think, in my opinion, when I was a vegetarian, it's really hard to not eat cheese. So this is a great cheese alternative. This is Miyoko's Creamery. This brand is probably my favorite vegan cheese. I usually use this for special occasions because it can be a little bit more costly, but she definitely goes to the effort to make it fermented. She's taken the time to study how cheese is made, and she's tried to replicate that as much as possible using cashews. So this is a great brand. Then on a daily, for your daily cheese, I really like this brand. It's Field Roast Chow, and I have 3 different types here. I just made a grilled cheese a day or 2 ago with this brand. It's really, really good. I've used this in my turkey sandwich recipe, this brand. So you can get this at Publix or Safeway, I know for sure. There are other cheese brands out there, and you'll definitely find a lot of different ones at the store. These 2 are just my personal favorites out of the ones I've tried that I think are really good. So, I have the original here. They have, coconut herb, tomato, cayenne. So these are really great if you're looking for a cheese that's really tasty that you can put in your sandwiches or melt. It's very meltable. I would try this brand. And that's it, you guys. I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope it was helpful for all of you out there trying to get into vegan eating. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone.